Someone into this conversation who really will be a strong voice on it. Sister Norma Pimentel is the sister with the Missionaries of Jesus, Executive Director of Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley. Sister Norma, welcome. I know
Thank you.
You remember and knew Pope Francis on a personal level that maybe you can speak to first before we get into some of these issues.
Oh, most definitely. Thank you for the invitation to share some words. Pope Francis was very clear in his message to us to make sure that we live out our gospel values in receiving our brothers and sisters who are in distress, who are suffering, who are most vulnerable, and invited us to really open our hearts to welcome them and to care for them. And so our community here in South Texas, right at the border, the Rio Grande Valley, was a very united. We came together as a community to do just that. We actually together welcomed and took care of many families that came through this port of entry, and we did it out of the need or to make sure that people would regain their dignity, that the way they had completely been suffering so much.
And you felt as though the Pope, really personally appreciated the work you were doing?
Yes, he made it very clear for us that when he was able to talk to us, especially through some different interviews that we had, how happy he was to see the response that our community here in South Texas was opening up our hearts to welcome the families and caring for them. And he said, have courage, continue to have that courage and lead and to be a voice to speak for those that need to be recognized for what they're going through and to care for them.
Now, as you probably know, we cover this issue through a political lens all the time, immigration in the United States. And I wonder what your thoughts are for particularly Catholics in the United States who have a different point of view on it, who don't see it the same way you see it. What would you say to them? What do you think they should know?
I think that sometimes we lose sight of the importance of the gospel message. It's very clear to all of us that we must bring humanity and the care of our brothers and sisters as part of our gospel message. And so sometimes when we confuse that with other issues, we may get distracted and not really focus on what Pope Francis kept insisting that we must never lose sight of. The importance of always upholding the dignity of every person and especially those most vulnerable and those that are suffering. And so his message, Pope Francis, was very clear. It's all focused on the gospel message, and all of us who believe in God and who believe that our faith pulls us to do good should clearly see this message and recognize that Pope Francis' message was one of doing good to our brothers and sisters who need us.
And seems like in multiple contexts, not judging, right? He famously said, "Who am I to judge?" In a different context, but even with this particular story, that anecdote that we had in the introduction to you of going overseas and he finds these refugees and he brings them back. He brought them back, and I believe those people lived in the area in and around Rome for many, many years after that.
Yes,
maybe they still do.
Totally. If you go to Rome and you visit around in the evening, the homeless always are protected around the Vatican, and you start seeing little tents and ways of how they can take a bath, showers, and food. And so the response has been very good about making sure people who need help get the help they need.
Do you think he changed the Catholic Church during his papacy, or what would you say more broadly?
His message was very clear. It's about humanity caring for one another. And if you didn't hear that message, then nothing would change you. But if you're in tune with God and his message, then you would understand that Pope's message was very clear. Love your brothers and sisters, welcome them.
Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.